VA IRRRL in 2025. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Jeff Javarthan, Jeff the Mortgage Pro. Thanks so much for watching today. I really appreciate it. If you really like these videos, do me a huge favor. Click that like button and go ahead and subscribe down below. I'd love to help get my message out to as many people as possible. But this video is about doing a VA IRRRL refinance in 2025. And let's jump right into it here so we have an idea of what this looks like. And first of all, let's start with the acronym VA, Veterans Affairs, and then IRRRL, IRRRL, stands for Interest Rate Reduction Refinance Loan. So in short, we call these VA IRRRLs. So these are particularly designed to lower your interest rate on a VA loan. So let's go through some of the eligibility requirements to see if you qualify for a VA IRRRL in 2025. So basically, number one, you have to already have a VA-backed home loan. So most likely you did a purchase loan at some point, or you refinanced into a VA loan, but you already have a VA-backed home loan. That's number one. Number two, you plan to use the IRRRL to refinance the VA-backed home loan. Okay, you can't take a conventional loan or some other type of a loan and then refinance it with a VA IRRRL. You have to already have a VA IRRRL first, so it cannot be used for mortgages on different homes either. Okay. Number three, you can prove that you live in the home covered by the loan. Okay. Now this is a kind of a tricky scenario. So you have to prove that you lived in the home or you used to live in the home. So you can actually do a VA IRRRL refinance if you have a property that's now an investment property and you bought it with a VA backed home loan at some point, and then you moved out, maybe you got deployed, you went overseas, something happened, but you still own that home and you have renters in there. You can still do a VA IRRRL on that property because you have a VA backed mortgage on there, and it allows you to do a VA IRRRL to lower your interest rate because it's a benefit for you as the veteran to be able to do that. So that's something that has been into play for several years, and I didn't even know about it until a year or two ago. So it's a great stipulation for people who have a VA-backed home loan, and they can reduce that interest rate going forward. Another stipulation, number five, is that your VA loan has to be at least 210 days old. Now, the reason why this exists is that there was some predatory lending that happened back in the day, and people would churn these VA loans over and over again to try to charge higher fees, get them a lower interest rate, and save on payments. But what ends up happening when you do that is that it's not really a benefit for the veteran, it's only for the loan officer. So rules were put into place so that you need to have 210 days elapsed from the time that your original mortgage closed to be able to do a closing of a new VA IRRRL refinance. And then lastly, the stipulations are that your interest rate drops by a minimum of 0.5%, and you're converting from an ARM or a shorter fixed loan, like a 15-year fixed, to a 30-year fixed loan. So those things are all benefits to you as a veteran to use the VA IRRRL. So it has to drop by 0.5%. So if you have a 6.5% interest rate right now, and you want to do a VA IRRRL refinance, it has to drop to 6% going forward. Okay. So those are the eligibility requirements. Let's look at some of the benefits of doing a VA IRRRL. Okay. What are the things that, make this a really good loan to do? And it's a benefit for you. So number one is limited paperwork. I mean, there's not a lot of stuff that you need to bring to the table for a VA IRRRL transaction. You need a certificate of eligibility. You need the original note that you have on your current VA home loan. And other than that, there's not a lot of stuff that we need. Maybe a DD-214 potentially. But very, very minimal documentation for a VA IRRRL going forward. There's no income, employment, or really any credit verification that's required either. And it's significantly less in paperwork in that sense as well, since we're not verifying any of that stuff because you've already qualified for a VA home loan in the past. So we don't need to redo all of that documentation. You're going to have a lower interest rate. That's obviously another benefit of doing this. It makes no sense, and it's not even possible to do a VA IRRRL if your interest rate's going up. So we don't want to, do that. But if you've closed a loan, since 2022 and your interest rate is higher and the rates decide to drop, then you can definitely look into doing a VA IRRRL refinance. So a lower interest rate is going to be a benefit for you. Another benefit for a VA home loan is that there's no PMI required on these. So you can go up to 100% value, loan to value of the property on a VA IRRRL. And the great thing about that, no PMI on VA loans. Okay. Whereas if you were doing like an FHA loan or a conventional loan, you're definitely going to have mortgage insurance for the most part. Okay. There's no appraisal required on these, so don't worry about having to do another appraisal or using the expense to get another appraisal. So don't worry about that. And then you're able to finance with little or no equity, and you can roll the closing costs of the VA IRRRL into the actual loan amount itself. So your loan amount might increase a little bit, but we still want to make sure we have a 0.5 point reduction in payment. And this allows us to come to the table with no closing costs out of pocket, typically, if you are able to do that. Okay. A low credit score will not disqualify you from a VA IRRRL refinance. That's another great benefit of this type of a loan. And then lastly, it's available to most veterans and active duty members, armed forces members, including reserves and National Guard members as well. Okay. So if you have a scenario where you feel like you have a higher interest rate and you see the interest rates are starting to drop, and this is a loan that you want to look into, I'd be happy to be the one that helps you out with this. Do me a favor, you can click on that calendar link down below and we can schedule a call and chat with you about this and run some numbers for you to make sure that it's a benefit for you. And if this sounds like something you want to do in 2025, make sure to reach out to me. Look forward to talking to you soon and see you on the next show.